So there's not many rules when it comes to Kitchen Rodeo. The rules are behind me in this cool virtual background. Really, first, please don't stress. Sharon is here for you. We are here for you to support you in your cooking. Please ask questions. This should be a fun community activity. Please feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions. Don't be offended if I mute you if your kitchen is too loud. And then finally, when you want Sharon to look at your catfish or see the texture of your grits, please say your name so I can find you and spotlight you so everyone can see you. So that's basically it. We've raised a ton of money to date. We're so excited to work with Sharon. We have more events. The website is kitchen.rodeo. If you take any photos, please tag us at kitchen.rodeo. And that's about it. I'm gonna hand it over to Sharon.
Good evening, everybody. I'm so glad that you could join us tonight. Just Soul Catering is happy to share one of many recipes, okay? And so tonight we will be doing fried catfish and we will be doing cheesy grits, okay? I just need to ask a question. Is there anybody baking their fish?
Nope.
Oh, that is wonderful. So I can turn my oven off, right?
Yeah, we're frying.
Everybody's frying. Okay, I'm turning my oven off. Okay, all right. So how many of you guys lemoned and cleaned your fish? Did y'all do that yet? Did you get that out the way?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Lots of people have.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Now, I'm a person who uses gloves because I cook for people all the time. You don't have to put on gloves, okay? So this is just a habit for me, and I just, I do this because I just want to protect people, right? So let's start with, if you notice here, I have my here to show you guys how to season it, and then I have some that I seasoned and put in the refrigerator 2 days ago. Now, when you're doing this recipe by yourself, the best way to get good flavor is to always season like a day or two prior to, because the seasoning just soaks through into your meat, and that's with fish, with chicken, whatever it is that you like. Always clean and season your food days ahead and put it away in the refrigerator, and I promise you, you're gonna taste all of your seasoning down to the bone. So now this fish that I'm gonna season tonight, that's not the fish that I'm frying, but I'm frying with you guys. I'm just frying the fish that I had already seasoned. So let's begin, okay? So if you have your plate in front of you, I want you to just lay your pieces of clean fish out on your plate. And then let me know if I'm moving too fast, okay? Because that's not something that we want to do. I want everybody to have some good tasting food tonight. All right, so I got 4 pieces here because I have 4 mouths that are waiting for me to finish cooking so that they can eat, okay? I don't know about you guys. So you see this? You ready?
That's a lot of fish, Sharon.
Huh?
That's a lot of fish.
Yeah, I know, because I have a lot of people waiting to eat. So I made sure that I made something extra, okay? So now we have our seasonings, right? And we have our teaspoons of all of our seasonings, and that should be your Cajun, that should be your garlic powder, your onion powder, your adobo, and your Mrs. Dash. Now, if you had a hard time finding any of those types of seasonings and you just want to season your fish with what you normally use, that's okay too, all right? And then we have our black pepper, which is like 1/3. So I'm seasoning 4 pieces of fish. So if you have like 2 pieces of fish, you wouldn't need as much, okay? So we're gonna start with the garlic powder. All right, no, we're gonna start with the garlic powder. All right, and I'm gonna start sprinkling it over the fish, okay?
Sharon, as you do that, can you talk about how you came up with this specific blend of seasoning?
Yes. So this particular blend works for the food. I have, as I got older, as far as salt intake, I can't do that anymore because of high blood pressure. And then the population of people that I'm feeding also, you know, that doesn't work. So I started using a lot of seasonings that didn't have salt in it. And the only thing that I found was very, very mild with the salt is the adobo and the sazon together, because they have the no salt one. And it kind of like works so that your food is not overly, you know, but if that's not your issue and you love salt, then you're, you know, welcome to do so. So I use this blend on just about everything when I'm cooking rice and stews and, you know, certain recipes I don't share, but I put it in my macaroni and cheese and all that kind of good stuff. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that the fish is covered, right, on the front and on the back. You see, I turned over the fish, right? Want to make sure that it's covered on the front and back. Now, that was the garlic powder, right? And then you can use your hands to rub it in. It's okay. Get your hands all in there. Now we're going to use our onion powder. Am I moving too fast? Y'all with me?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to take our onion powder and we're going to sprinkle it all on the top of one side. We're going to rub it in, make sure it's good, and we're going to flip it over. Again, don't use as much if you only have 2 pieces of fish, right? Okay, that's the onion powder. Now we have the Mrs. Dash. Mrs. Dash goes far. It has no salt in it. It's a blend of different herbs and seasonings. I love it. It makes vegetables taste good. It makes macaroni and cheese taste good. And it's great on all meats. Okay, so we're going to do one side.
I don't see you, Marge.
You getting it? And then we're going to flip it over. And we're going to do the other side. How y'all doing? Y'all doing okay?
Yeah.
All right. Y'all staying safe out there?
So far.
All right, this pandemic is a mess, boy. I'm telling you, it has all of us on our head, but thank God for things like this that we can do together, right? And have some fun. Okay, now I have the Cajun seasoning, right? I love Cajun seasoning because Cajun seasoning has a little hint to, a little pepper to it, and it just has just the right amount of flavor, and it tastes great on fish. So I'm sprinkling it all on the top.
I have a question, Sharon.
Okay, go for it.
I mixed up all the spices in advance. You were putting them in one at a time. Does that layering make any difference?
Okay, no, it doesn't make any difference. And actually, let me tell you something. Cooking is an art. And I really believe that. And I think that when people give a recipe, it's up to you to figure out how it works for you. And it's easier. So let me tell you something. I had to measure out all of this stuff to do this little show for you guys. But normally, I have my seasonings out and I just sprinkle. Sometimes if I'm doing, you know, a cook at someone's home or whatever, and I can't take all of that stuff with me, I'll pour all of my seasonings into a bag, mix it all up, take it to where I'm going, and just do the same thing there. So it's fine. It's not going to affect the difference of the taste. You know, as long as you have all of this all mixed in real good. Fish is looking good here. You see this? All right. Okay, that screen went dark. All right, now the adobo. Okay, so remember, if you have an issue with being salt sensitive, you want to go easy with the adobo. Okay, if you have 4 pieces, I can't say that enough. If you have 4 pieces, you can just go for it. All right. All right. All right, now we're going to use the black pepper. So now the black pepper is 1/3. So you can just use all of that. It's not going to hurt. And also, if you're not using black pepper, you can use crushed red pepper. I love that. It really, really tastes good on the fish. There are some other alternative options, like you can use Italian dressing, salad dressing. And when you're marinating it, after you put all the seasoning, the last thing that you could put on it is the Italian seasoning and let it soak in really, really good. Put it in the Ziploc bag, put it in the refrigerator for a day or 2. And I'm telling you, when you go to fry it or bake it, it's going to taste marvelous. All right. Now, the last thing is the sazon. Let me tell you about sazon. Sazon is great for color. And I hate food that don't have color to it, right? So I love using the sazon. It's a good taste food for blend for like rices and soups and stuff like that. And, you know, I just love this. It tastes really good. So just take the pack and sprinkle it on. Make sure it gets in there nice and evenly. And for the people who mix their blends already together, it's just fine. Okay. All right. Now, this is optional. The parsley. The parsley is it makes your food look pretty, and I just love the way it looks. So
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
If you don't have parsley, could you use cilantro or would that kill all the flavors?
So listen, no, cilantro tastes marvelous.
Okay.
Okay. You can use also Italian seasoning too, right? Because it has a lot of different dark and light, you know, colors and stuff in it. So you can use that also. And then also too, like rosemary. Rosemary is nice.
Yeah, rosemary.
You know,
I have a question.
yeah.
What about dried parsley if you don't have fresh parsley?
Okay, so this is what I'm using. I'm using dry parsley.
Right. Okay.
Yep, and that works perfectly. So you don't want to use fresh parsley for the fish that you're frying. You can use the fresh parsley if you were going to put it into the oven, right? Because you don't want the leaves frying while you're frying the fish. So that's perfect for bacon, but the dry parsley is what you want to use, okay? Now, if you notice, so we're done with the whole seasoning process here. And if you notice, this looks just like what I did a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
Okay? So I use the same thing, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this away, right? Because I want that to soak for some days. And I got my little helpers over here. So I'm going to get them to cover this up and put that in the refrigerator for me. All right? Now I'm just going to wash my hands off, okay? Because I got seasonings all over it. Be right back. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. All right, now, what we're gonna do next is we're gonna be putting out cornmeal. Did everybody get cornmeal?
Yeah.
Yes.
You didn't have a problem finding it, right?
No.
Okay, I have my parchment paper. Did I tell you guys to get a piece of parchment paper? If you don't have that, you can use a side dish or paper towels or whatever. We just want to have this ready so when it's time to fry, it's all done. And it's really, really good for when you're doing chicken, you know, to let it sit with the flour on it. Same thing with the fish. You let it sit with the cornmeal on it. You'll shake off the excess. I'm going to show you. And then you put it right into the hot grease when we're ready. Okay, so y'all ready for this?
Does everyone have their fish seasoned?
Mm-hmm.
Is all the fish seasoned? Everybody has their fish seasoned?
Yeah. Yep, we got nods.
Let me know when you're ready.
Folks are ready, Sharon.
Okay, all right. So here we go. So here's my cornmeal, right? Okay, so look, I'm taking my fish. I'm going to lay it in the cornmeal, just laying it on one side.
Get over there, man.
And I'm giving it a nice little push. And then I'm flipping it over on the other side. See how that looks?
Sharon, can you move your plate closer to the other phone? On the other side. On the other
This
side.
side here?
Yeah. That's perfect. That's
Okay,
good.
right. Okay, how's that look? Much better?
That looks great.
Okay, so make sure all of the fish is covered, right? And you're gonna just shake off the excess and lay it on your parchment paper.
Sharon,
Okay.
we could only get medium grade. We couldn't find the fine grade.
Okay, so let me tell you something. The medium grade just makes it taste kind of crunchy, and that's okay, because some people like that. I like the fine because it just gives the fish a softer taste in your mouth, but it doesn't matter. You could have gotten the hard crust too. It's just that I use the soft meal. Okay?
All right.
All right. You see what's going on here? How you guys doing?
Everyone's
so listen.
Good.
While while we're doing this, I want to tell you guys a little story. Can we do two things at one time?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna tell you, I love cooking. I think that cooking and serving food to other people is just a way to people's heart and soul.
I agree. We agree.
You know, food always makes people feel better. You can always put a smile on people's face. You know, when I'm working with the customers, they love to eat. And part of loving to eat is storytelling. So I usually tell, you know, why food is so on. I come from a West Indian background, and my mom and my grandmother, they cooked all the time. So food was always being served. We had company over, people came over, and this was just a thing to do. So when you put food and the love of people together, you get this wonderful company called Just Soul Catering. And so Just Soul Catering came to be, you know, because of the love of food and the love of people. All right, so are you guys ready? Because I had more fish than you guys, so I just want to make sure all of mine is done, because I got a big old family over here waiting for this fish. Okay, so my fish is all done. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
The next thing?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm taking the gloves off now. I don't need them anymore. All right, so our fish is ready. Depending on the size of your frying pan, I just want to show you this. I used about 1.5 cups of oil because of this size. This is perfect. And what you don't want, right? Can you see this really good? Right, you want about 1 inch to 2 inches of the oil around the sides. That's how you know you have enough. You don't want it too shallow, and you don't want it too filled up, because you don't want your food to be greasy, right? So depending on the size of the frying pan you're using can determine the amount of oil, but 1 cup should do it, or a little bit over, like in my situation. You good?
I have
Sharon is,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. What if, like, I'm only frying 2 pieces of fish? Do I still
Okay.
need all that oil?
So let me see your frying pan. Can you show me? Okay, so that's perfect. You don't need any more than that.
Perfect. Thanks.
Perfect. Okay. All right. All right. Let's get to doing these grits. Y'all ready?
Can I ask one other question about the fish?
Okay.
Hey, so my fish is maybe like 10 inches long. Should I cut it in half or just?
So that's what I did. Yeah, that's what I did with my fish. So
Okay.
the reason why I got so many pieces is that I could actually take 2 pieces of fish and make 4 pieces out of it. You know, so the catfish is pretty big. The catfish fillet, when it comes, depending on where you got it from, can determine how big it is, and then you can cut it. All right. So yeah.
Sharon, about how big are your pieces? Like, how long do you think they are?
So I would say that one piece was like this. So look at this. You see how long that is? That was one piece. And I cut it in half.
Okay, so if we cut it, then we'll get like more fried edges for every piece. So that's nice.
Right, exactly. Or if you were to cut it like right down the middle. So for example, you know, sometimes you can take the fish. So this is the piece right here, the whole piece. The screen went dark. This is the whole piece. Now, if I would have cut it straight down the middle, if you could see me, if I would have cut it straight down the middle, I would have just had 2, you know, sides or whatever. And that's good for, like, you know, kids. Like when I'm doing kids parties or whatever, if they order fried fish, I kind of make them like, you know, small little pieces so that they can just take them and run with it, you know? But for like family style, this is perfect. To cut it like this. And then some pieces, they come, you know, big enough where you can just fry that one piece. You don't have to cut it at all. You don't have to always cut it, right? So it's entirely up to you.
Sharon, it looks like most folks are done with their fish and we're ready for grits.
Okay, all right, let's get to these grits. All right, so now you want to do is you want to turn your, let me wash my hands, hold on.
Should we be heating the oil?
All right, so now the heating of the oil. I'm gonna tell you when to turn that flame on for the oil, okay? Don't do it yet. And because it's such a small amount of oil, it's gonna warm up quickly anyway, right? So towards the end of the grits, we'll turn the oil on and start to get it ready, okay? So now for the grits, you should have a cup of milk and a cup of chicken broth, right? Both of them are gonna go into your pot and you're gonna turn the pot on high to start.
Is that a cup?
Okay, so here's my chicken broth. Pouring that right in. Okay, and now I'm pouring in my milk. A cup of milk. All right. Now I hope everybody has their whisk. This is very important here, this whisk right here.
Sharon, can
Just wanna mix that around. Mix that milk and that chicken broth around.
Did someone have a question?
Yes.
Yeah, I was wondering if you can make them ahead of time. I'm in Seattle, and so we're gonna eat in like an hour. Should I wait to make them?
Okay, so let me tell you about grits. What's so wonderful about it? As long as you have extra milk and as long as you have extra chicken broth, you can make the grits in the morning and eat it in the afternoon. All you have to do is turn the flame back on medium. And what you're gonna do, so when you look at the grits, it would have gotten to like a kind of pasty thickness to it. You just add some milk, add some chicken broth to it, take a spoon now, right, because you can't use the whisk, and just stir it around on medium low, and it'll start to reheat. They taste just as good. We eat grits all day long. We eat out of our pot all day. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you, Sharon.
Okay. All right, you're welcome. All right, so now the reason why you have it on high is because you want it to get to kind of like a semi-boil.
You have the chicken? Is that going together?
So now what you have is a cup of grits, and you don't want it to fully boil, right? But you want it to kind of like semi-boil. And the reason why you don't want it to fully boil is because anything that's grainy, when you put it into there, if it wasn't pre-mixed with like cold water, that's how you get lumps. All right, and then you're gonna just have problems. So with the whisk, you want to keep stirring and stirring and stirring and stirring. At some point, I'm gonna have you turn the flame down, but remember, every stove is different. So you know your stove best. And if you see the grits starting to pop, you know, and because you don't want to get burned by any grits. That's the reason why I had you, you know, make sure you have a cover to your pot, just in case. But once you turn it down to like medium low as it's cooking, if you have to add a little bit more milk, or if you have to add a little bit more chicken broth, it'll help with trying to soothe the grits. We're gonna cook it for a little while because we want smooth grits. We don't want to put grits in our mouth that taste grainy. Okay, so that's really, really important.
Sharon, is this a traditional, like a classic grits recipe, or is this like your own take?
So this is I would say it's my way of cooking it. So the traditional way is just using water, some salt and pepper, and some people add sugar to it, and some people eat it with, you know, lots of salt, and they eat it with a biscuit, the eggs, and bacon in the morning. But you know, again, cooking is an art for me, and so I love trying new things. So I always go online. I use YouTube a lot. I watch other chefs. I see them, you know, adding certain things, and I'm like, let me try this. It's so good. Wait till you taste it. Okay, so now my milk. Okay, so I'm gonna move this from the stove because I let it boil up. Okay, all right. Cook it on the stove. Yes.
Are the grits in there now?
Nope. I'm getting ready to add them now.
Okay.
Here we go. Slowly. You're going to add them slowly, and you're stirring with the whisk. Slowly and stirring. Can you see?
Yep, we can see.
All right.
Are we off heat at this stage?
Now remember, I have my I have my stove on medium now.
Okay.
Okay, because you don't want it to boil over. If you see the grits boiling up, then make sure you remove the pot off and then keep stirring with the whisk. All right. Now you can start adding your seasoning. So what we have is half teaspoon of garlic powder. You can add that in. And then you can add in your onion powder, which is a half a teaspoon. And if you see your grits starting to get thick, add your little extra milk, or you can add the chicken broth. I just added some chicken broth just to keep it going. Just to keep it going. And remember, I have my stove on medium-low.
Sharon, can you tilt the pot towards the iPhone? Just so we can texture a little bit? Yeah, that's great. And can you like pull your whisk out of the grits so we can see the texture of it? Yeah, like
okay. How's that?
Up and down just a little bit. Oh, that's nice. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the texture we're looking for. Yeah, that's great.
See how it looks?
Yeah, that's great.
Right? So you kind of got to like a little thickness, and at the same time, you got to like a little smoothness, right? Now, I'm watching the clock also, too. You know, these grits, they say they're 5-minute grits, but it's not 5-minute grits. They take longer. I don't know. Maybe some people just make grits, and after 5 minutes, they take it off the stove and eat it, but I don't like it that way. So now my grits are getting thick again. So I'm adding more chicken broth.
Sharon?
Yes.
Can you remind me what seasonings you put in there?
So I put the onion powder.
Uh-huh.
I put the garlic powder.
Uh-huh.
Right? I put the adobo. Now, you don't want to use a lot of adobo. Okay? So remember, that's your salt intake. And you don't need a lot of it because you're going to add cheese. And you're going to add butter. And if you're using butter that has salt, you don't want to overpower this. So can you guys see this? Your grits should be looking nice and creamy. If it's not looking creamy, add milk or add chicken broth.
Does everyone seem to have smooth grits? Do we have smooth grits?
Okay, everybody.
Mine are definitely watery.
Yours is watery?
Show
yeah.
Camera on your
Okay.
grits.
Can you
I
confirm
don't know
how
why
much?
did you use a cup of grits?
Yes.
And did you use a cup of milk and a cup of chicken broth?
Sharon, if you turn around, you'll be able to see.
Yeah. See,
Okay.
it's like really like thin.
Okay, so if you used a cup of milk and a cup of chicken broth and a cup of the grits, I'm not sure what's going on unless you were over on something.
Maybe I just
some,
don't have it hot enough.
you can
Maybe
add some more. You can add some more grits to that if you want, but be careful.
Okay.
Be careful, okay? Don't just add maybe like less than a half a cup. Less than a half a cup.
Okay.
All right.
Does anyone else want Sharon to look at their grits?
No, just mine were super watery too, and I think it's the recipe says just half a cup, and so I just I made it the cup in this conversation. So maybe that could be. So it should be 2 cups of the liquid and a cup of grits.
Okay.
Right.
I'll try
Right.
adding a little bit more.
I will change that right now. Thank you.
Now, let me see. Does anybody else want to show me that grits?
I'm going to show off my grits.
Let's give us a sec.
Oh, that looks great. That looks good. Now, what I would suggest you doing is add a little bit of milk or some chicken broth to that just to get the stuff. I'm going to show you right now. Look at mine. Look at mine.
Is that Dave?
Give us a sec, Brad. We're there. Let's give
Okay, so you see this? You see this? Right? I'm going to add just a little bit more because I don't like mine that thick. Maybe you do. I don't like mine that thick.
Sharon, can you look at this is Bradley.
Bradley's are perfect.
Mine are better
those
than
are perfect.
Dave.
Bradley's are better than Dave's.
Dave doesn't have Gabby in his kitchen.
Those are perfect.
No.
Sharon, what do we we think? Are they perfect?
They're
Yeah.
perfect. Listen, we're gonna do the finishing touches soon, okay?
I just feel like this is getting very competitive.
It's like some sibling rivalry.
Family feud.
They look really creamy.
When you're picking up, don't stir so much.
Yeah, they look good. They look good. Okay, so now listen, get your black pepper, and we only have a half. No, we have 1/3 of black pepper. If you like black pepper, you can add more, but I don't usually add any more than this. You see? You can see the little specks in there. I'm gonna add a little bit more. Can I do some? I'm gonna add a little bit of more. Matter of fact, wait, hold on. I got some here. Hold on 1 second. Where's my black pepper at?
Annie, how are your grits looking? Did you add more in there? Are we in a better place?
We're so much better. They look
Okay,
great.
that's great.
How is Dave doing? Is he okay?
Here, let's see Dave. How are your grits?
Grits are getting thick. How's your grits looking? How's those grits looking? Good. No, they're thick. They're thick.
Give them a little flow from,
If you like it,
Alan.
then
Wonderful.
How's that?
All right.
I can't kick my grits yet.
All right, so now listen. We're gonna add the butter. Put your butter in now.
Can we add a whole stick? I mean,
If you want to listen, I have like 3 tablespoons. If you want to put a half of the stick, put a half a stick in there. You don't need a whole stick now. That's too much.
you don't understand.
We don't need a whole stick, but what if we want a whole stick? What would happen if can someone put a whole stick in just for the group to understand what would happen?
David, you should put a whole
People would love these if they had a whole stick of butter in them.
I just think we need to be able to compare. I think it's
All right.
someone needs to do it.
Listen, your grits should be looking like this now. Okay? Let me come over here so you can see better. Y'all see this?
Yep.
Do they look nice and creamy?
Yeah.
Look pretty good.
All right. Add some liquid because you don't want to, you still have the cheese to put in.
Sharon,
All right,
is the
now,
heat
I'm
still
going to start
on
adding my cheese.
Is the heat still on medium, or did you turn the heat down?
My heat is on medium low. For my stove, I'm on medium low.
Okay.
How much cheese is there? Is it?
I'm using a cup.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
And I have the shredded. I have the shredded cheese. Now, when you add the cheese, it's going to thicken up. Now, at this point,
that looks so
at this point, turn the stove on under your oil, okay? You can put your oil on now, and I'm adding a little bit more chicken broth because my cheese made my grits a little thick. You see how good this looks?
Yeah.
You see how smooth it's looking?
Folks, if you didn't catch it,
edges.
folks, if you didn't catch it, we want to start to heat the oil for the fish.
Yeah, start to heat the oil for your fish. Turn it on. You can turn it on high. And make sure you liquefy your grits. They should be looking like this, okay? They should be looking like this.
You tilt your pan down a little. Okay, thank you.
Sharon, I have an oil question.
Okay.
So if I had a cup of vegetable oil and then I ran out, can I mix in sunflower oil, or should I just stick with what I've got?
I think you should stick with what you got because I'm not sure about combining different flavor oils and what can happen. One thing I would definitely tell you to never do is never put olive oil because you can't fry olive oil. If it gets too hot, it becomes toxic. So you want to always use like canola or mazola, stuff like that, to be safe, okay?
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, so how's everybody's grits coming along?
Good.
David, do you want to show us your grits again? How are they looking?
How's this looking? Is this looking good to everybody?
Yes.
All right, now if your grits look like this,
Sharon, do that again.
Look, you see?
Yeah.
If your grits look like this, you have You see the consistency? Yeah. Now, if you like them thick, you can stop adding milk and the the chicken stock to it, right? But now I'm gonna remove this from the stove, okay? Because you don't want to leave it on there, not even on low, while you're cooking your fish. All right?
Annie, let's see your grits. How are they coming along?
Fine.
Yeah, this is cheeses in and everything.
Oh yeah. I think they're doing pretty good.
Sharon,
we recovered well.
Sharon, can we do some grit checks for folks?
Okay, let me see. Let me see.
Annie.
Ooh, that looks good.
Thank you. Yes.
Mine.
Okay, Emma and David, give me a sec. There's Emma and David.
Yes, that's it.
Better than Brad.
Come on, Dave.
Good.
Dave, let's see.
Dave, look at that.
How are we doing?
Dave, okay, Dave, those is good. Wonderful. They look creamy too.
Okay, but whose are better?
Those look good. Those look good. And try tasting a little bit. You can taste a little bit, Take the thing and just put it.
How about this, David? Another David.
Wait a minute. Y'all making me want to taste it. I need a spoon. Wait a minute. Hold a second. Y'all ready?
Come on.
This is good.
They're really good.
I did not know you were going to like these. I would have cooked them for you a long time.
Now, let me tell y'all something. If you're tasting a little grain, that means they need to cook a little longer.
Okay.
So I'm turning my grits back on low. And I'm going to keep an eye on my grits while I'm cooking my fish. Add a little bit of chicken broth. I'm going to keep stirring. Because you don't want them to taste gritty. You want them to taste smooth. That's very important. How's your oil doing? Now, does everybody know when their oil is hot? Or do you need a little hint on that? I mean, does everybody know when their oil is hot? Tell me.
I don't know, Sharon.
Ooh, it's hot.
I don't know.
Tell us.
Okay, so look. I'm going to take a piece of fish. I'm ready. Is your all ready? Yeah. Okay, here we go. Ready? Let's do this. Ooh, look at that. Oh my goodness. Look at here. Oh, suck it. We're gonna have some catfish and grits in a minute, boy. Now, here's the trick. Turn your flame down depending on your stove. I got mine down to a little bit over medium now. And what I do is I fry the fish for like 5 minutes on one side and turn it over and fry it 5 minutes on the other side. Because the worst thing that you want to happen is that the fish looks golden brown on the outside, and then when you go to cut it, it's raw on the inside. Yeah. So I got 548, 9, 10, 51, 2, 52. At 7:52, I'm turning my fish over. Right, I got those.
Can you repeat how long does this cook?
Sharon, how long does this cook for?
So 10 minutes. 10 minutes. 5 minutes on one side and 5 minutes on the other side, right? And then, depending on the golden brown, like look, if you want it a little darker, you could just kind of flip it back and forth. I do that sometimes because I want it a little darker. But normally for this texture of fish, 5 minutes on one side and 5 minutes on the other.
And we're at a medium-low heat, right?
Yes, I'm on a medium low. You can see how it's frying, right? It's not burning. It's not too high.
It's sizzling.
It's sizzling. You see how nice that looks? I'm making sure the phone is not getting hot.
Yeah, I was concerned.
Okay. Did we move this back a little bit? No, we good? Okay. All right. So, anyway, so we waiting 7:52. So I got a few minutes with you guys. So, no, the grits is fine. My family is telling me check the grits because they listen. The grits is fine, okay? I got mine on low. They're doing good. Everybody's grits fine? So, let me just tell y'all another story, right? So, let me tell you how Just Soul came to be. So, I am a formerly incarcerated person. I spent a long time in prison for a domestic violence case, and I came home 10 years ago. I never knew anything about being an entrepreneur, what it was like, how to become one. And I ran across some people doing the vagina monologues, and they directed me to Defy Ventures, which was an organization that helped men and women become entrepreneurs. And I went to them and I started participating with them and getting involved, and I ended up getting incorporated, and I've been cooking for people for almost 5 years now. I love catering. I always wanted to get a food truck, have my own kitchen. So these are long-term goals, and I'm excited about it. So I just love cooking for people. Two of my signature dishes is banana pudding and macaroni and cheese. And if you guys are good, maybe we'll have a night where we do some banana pudding and mac and cheese. I just look back at my fish. My fish is good. I got 1 more minute and then I'm gonna flip it over. But
Sharon,
anyway,
there's a lot of-
how's your fish looking? Show me your fish.
Careful, don't drop your phones in the pan. Okay, we have one over here.
Oh, look at this.
Okay, well, it has to be followed by David. Come on, let's see David's fish.
Wow, okay. David, are you working for 5 minutes?
Oh, Hannah, those look great.
Oh, they sure do. Okay, it's 7:52. I'm getting ready to turn mine over.
Annie?
I'm turning mine over.
Those don't really look.
That looks really good.
Everyone has different ingredients.
Well, I was just gonna do the kids
So they can just
Listen, if you have a problem with your stomach, make sure you use a fork, okay, to help you flip it.
Oh, that's interesting.
Somebody took my black tongue, so they're probably
Okay.
Oh, those are great. Emma and David.
All right, so now we're on the other side. 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57. I got it. I know my math. I was just checking to see if you guys knew your math. So, yeah. So how's my fish looking?
That is beautiful.
How's your fish? I'm sure your fish is just as beautiful. It's gonna taste wonderful.
Wow.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you. I'm so excited to eat this. Oh my gosh.
I can't wait to plate our food.
Sharon, everyone's starting to eat their grits and they're saying it's delicious.
I know the grits is good, right? Leave them grits alone. Leave them alone.
Leave them alone. Step away from the grits.
Make sure you have your rag, your wet rag, and just wipe up your grease. You know, if you got some popping going on.
Sharon, I have a question for you. Can you
talk to me.
Can you tell us about the charity you raised all this money for today?
The
Reentry Rocks?
Yeah. You talking about my GoFundMe page?
Yes.
Or are you talking about this?
Reentry Rocks.
You talking about the Reentry Rocks GoFundMe page, or for this?
The charity.
No, Sharon, for this.
Yeah, for that.
Like this.
Yeah. For Reentry Rocks.
So let me tell you a little bit about Reentry Rocks. Reentry Rocks is my 501c3. It's an organization that I created many years ago after I came home, and it's for formerly incarcerated women coming home that have domestic violence cases. And they come through the program. We do an intake with them and make sure that they're a perfect match. And some of the programs that we have is DV support groups. We also have a dance group that's not actually running right. Well, you know we can't run anything now because of the pandemic. But we have a dance group where people are able to tell their stories through dance. And then we have a creative arts program that involves culinary. So it's a entrepreneurship culinary internship program. It's 12 weeks. And it's 2 days a week. And once the women graduate, they get their food handler certificate, and then they can come and work for Just Soul Catering. We've graduated 3 classes already. And we were on our 4th class when this happened. The women were 6 weeks in, and then they, had to start. So what we're trying to do is raise money so that we can do something virtually and keep the women engaged and make sure that they're safe and have a place that they can, be involved in. So that's my nonprofit, and I love it.
What an
Okay,
amazing
I'm checking my fish.
Folks, while you're checking your fish, thank you so much for the generous donations we've received so far. The donation page is still open, and so if folks feel particularly inspired, feel free to throw a couple extra bucks in there, and we'll be sending Sharon the money tomorrow.
Okay, guys. I'm taking my fish out. I'm not waiting till 57. Mine is ready. So if
How's
it
everyone
looks
else's
anything
fish
like this, you can take it out.
Sharon, how do you know it's done on the inside?
Just by the timing. I already know that 5 minutes on both sides usually work, but depending on your stove and the heat determines if you need it a little longer or not. So I turn it down to medium heat on my stove because my stove is pretty new, so it cooks pretty fast. So this is kind of good enough for me. Right? You see this?
It should be ready.
Sharon, is there a way that I can look on the inside to make sure that it's done? Is there a color?
So take your fork, and you can cut into it, right? And as long as it looks white, can you see this?
Yep.
As long as it looks white and it's not pink, right? It's too hot, but you could always taste it to see if it's done. Okay, now. Oh my goodness. Well, while I'm gonna put my other pieces in. Okay, and then we're gonna plate our fish. Hold on. Washing my hands. All right, guys.
Sharon, I have a question.
Yeah.
How many times can you reuse that oil? Does it matter?
Okay, so now, I'm not a person who saves grease. I've never been that person. I do not like saving grease. I think that bacteria grows in anything, including oil. And so I always let my oil cool down. And hold on. I keep these cans. I get vegetables in these cans. I keep them. And I put my oil in here. Once it cools, I wrap it up and I throw it out on trash day. I do not keep oil, but some people do, and to be honest with you, if you're getting food from a restaurant, fried food from a restaurant, know that they're using that oil over and over and over again.
Sharon, why can't you just pour the oil down your drain?
Oh, no.
Oh, you can't.
Don't ever pour grease down your drain. Okay.
It's horrible for your pipes.
Even if you're using Dawn or oil cutter, don't do that. You will clog up. Now, if you're living in an apartment, some people, don't care, right? Like they just do it. But when you own a house and you got plumbing and things of that nature that you have to be responsible for and take care of, you never, ever pour oil down the drain.
Where do you put it?
You put it, let it cool. Let it completely cool. And you can pour it into a Ziploc bag, right? And seal it, double it, and then throw it out. Or you can put it into like a can, like if you have an oil can. Or you could use like a container from like coffee. Like if you drink coffee and you save those big containers, or if you have this. You know, like after your soap is over, you know, your Dawn soap, save these and wash them out, right? And then once your oil cools, you can put it in there, close it, you know it's safe, it's not gonna bust out the bag, put it in your trash and put it out.
Got it.
All right, so now, are you guys ready to plate your food?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Okay, here we go. I'm ready to put my grits on the first plate.
Oh, look at that.
Okay.
Sharon, it looks like some people skipped ahead. Look at this.
Ooh, that looks good. Now wait, where's your, you have your little dry parsley to make it look pretty. Oh, I'm so proud of y'all. Look at that.
That's beautiful. Wait, Sharon, can you put your dish close to the camera? The one on your left? Yeah, look at that.
Nice.
Yum.
Nice.
Okay, so it looks like David won this round.
Let me see David. Let me see David play.
Look at that.
That looks good.
Nice.
That looks wonderful. I'm so proud of y'all. I'm so proud of you.
Oh,
Oh, look how you got the spinach. Look.
What's that? That's cheating.
That is wonderful. That you did the doggone thing, David.
Does anyone else have food to show? Hannah, how are we looking?
Yep, we're coming. Coming.
Oh, he put a pineapple.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, you know what? Those grits look good.
They look so good.
Those grits look wonderful. Wait, let me turn my fish. Hold on. And if you can see me still frying, you'll see what I'm doing here. I want you guys to know that I make a mean cornbread too. Ooh. Ooh, I gotta think about that one. I gotta think about that one. So I'm getting ready to pass this plate off to my daughter, and then I got 3 other people sitting here waiting. So
Cornbread ready.
so do you guys have any questions for me? Tell me, talk to me while you're eating. Oh my God, that looks delicious.
That is Miss Annie.
Oh, Miss Annie, that looks delicious. And you got a pretty plate. Oh man, that looks good.
Megan, can we see yours?
Mine?
Yeah.
Of course. Hold on. I don't know how to do this. Wait, hold on. I'm like very non-tech savvy.
Oh, look at that. A side
I made some green beans on the side.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Good job, Meg.
Thanks.
Oh, you got green beans on the side. You cheating.
Sorry, I wanted a veg.
That looks delicious.
Sharon, what do you think?
That looks really nice.
Looks
I
good.
love that.
I just feel like
you gotta do the taste test now. Take the fork and make sure when you eat the fish, you scoop the grits with it.
This is beautiful. What happened? Thank you.
Hey, Sharon,
I'm
do you
taking
have
the
any
fork. Hold a second.
Sharon, I'm making greens on the side. Do you have any like natural green tips?
You're making what?
For greens, like I want to make some kale on the side because I have this from our farmer's market.
Okay, so for your vegetables, I would always saute some onions and peppers if you like onions and peppers. Do you like onions and peppers?
Yep.
Okay, so saute your onions and peppers in some a little bit of olive oil, right? You can add some butter to it because butter makes everything taste good, right?
All right.
So you can add some butter to it, and then use the same type of seasonings that we use tonight, which is your onion powder, your garlic powder, the Mrs. Dash, a little bit of adobo, right? You can use cilantro, dry cilantro, the what do you call it? The parsley, and some black pepper, and then let it steam. Make sure you cover it, right? Add a little water to it, let it steam. If you see it, the water is going out, make sure you add a little bit more. Now, you don't have to just use water. Remember, oh, that looks marvelous. Wow. That's a picture right there. That is a picture right there. To replace water to make your food taste more better, use the chicken broth. Or if you're a person who's like, you know, if you're fixing this for like someone who's vegan, you can use the vegetable broth. Okay, so they have all different types of broth that really, really make your food taste great. Okay, so I try to stay away from water if I don't have to use it.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Let me take my
tastes
out.
insane. This tastes so. Oh.
Betty, can we see your plate?
Well, it's not very pretty.
It's okay.
Let me see.
Well, I've already eaten most of it is the problem.
See it.
Hey, Sharon.
Let me see.
They have to kind of call on you.
Let me see some more fish. Come on.
Sharon, this is delicious.
Is it delicious?
It's totally. Thank you so much.
So good.
Lucy and the Lang family, we love it.
I'm enjoying this so much. Oh.
Look at Emma. Wow.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
It's not too much help because this is fried. I didn't.
Sharon, I feel like you need to eat one with us.
Huh?
We need to have you taking a bite of the food.
Okay, all right. I am. Wait, hold on. Hold on 1 minute. Hold on.
You got pickles?
I'm not getting it. Wait a minute, I'm still on. I gotta eat some good.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Please. I've no share. Mom like.
Get away from the stove.
Okay, y'all ready?
Yeah, bon appetit.
I'm eating with y'all.
Like with Sharon.
She's tasting
Tasting like hot. What you want, a piece of fish?
Sharon, are you gonna let me in
Say you don't
the
like
kitchen
grits.
now?
Huh?
It's Annie. Are you gonna let me in the kitchen now?
Yeah, I'll let you in the kitchen now, because now you know how to make this. So when we have an order for this, I'm calling you to the kitchen.
All right, sounds good.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We hope you had a great time and are eating some tasty food right now.
This was
It really was
wonderful.
so fun.
Yeah,
Will you
this was a
please,
great
like,
idea.
Email all of us if you do this again.
We gotta do this again.
I want to. I really like Sharon. You've been a gem. Like, you're so entertaining. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
And I really, really hope that I took the time to measure for you guys. It was so hard for me. But I took the time to measure for you guys. And I picked something pretty easy for you guys to make. But there's so many dishes that we can make, so many dishes.
We already have a request for the bread pudding, Sharon.
Sharon?
Yes?
When you make your grits, do you measure it out or do you kind of eyeball it?
No, I measured it. For you guys, I measured it.
When you make it for yourself?
When I make it for myself, I eyeball.
Oh, it's a delicious dinner. Thank you. Thank you.
It's good, right?
Thank you. Best dinner I've had today.
Oh, thank you.
Sharon, do you want to call your helpful helpers on camera to say thank you?
Yes. Come on, guys. Come on.
This is Sharon's team.
Come on.
Posse.
It's my helpful helpers.
Thank you. Good job, guys.
Delicious.
Thank you.
Tell us about the much delivery you did and how it was received.
Make sure you type down below what you want to see next. She got you.
Banana pudding.
Banana pudding.
Banana pudding.
Oh, y'all want my banana pudding, huh? Everybody wants my banana pudding.
Banana pudding next time.
I'm not sure what two different. All right, this was really, really good. This was fun. I wasn't nervous, but then I was getting nervous towards the end. You know, we had a little technical, difficulty coming on. Then I started getting nervous, but I'm so comfortable in my element. I love this. I love you guys. This was the best. This was the best.
We love you. We love you, Sharon.
I love you, Sharon. Too. And make sure.
Thank you so much.
A friend of mine always tells me to make sure you wash as you go. When you're home doing this for yourself, wash as you go because it'll make it easier in the end.
Yeah.
Okay, make sure you clean up and get that grease off your stove, Now, let me tell you something. So for the baked fish, what you would have done is that you would have taken the fish after you seasoned it, and because I already had this out. So this is just a cookie sheet, right? And I put foil over it, and I had the rosemary ready. When you bake your fish, you would have taken the fish with no cornmeal on it. You would have put it on the pan. You would have put pieces of butter, lots of butter all around it. And then you would have laid the rosemary on top of all the fish. And you see how much I have here? This would have covered like maybe 4 pieces of fish. And then I would have taken a piece of foil and I would have covered it tightly. And then I would have put it in the oven at like maybe 375 for like maybe 20 minutes. I promise you, when you uncover the foil from off of that baked fish, the rosemary will hit you in the face. And the butter, oh my God. Like if you make the same dish, it's gonna come out really, really, really good.
I sure what I did?
Huh?
I did a version because I can't have the breading. So I cooked a couple of pieces without the cornmeal in the air fryer at 370 for 15 minutes. I cooked it halfway and it's so juicy and good.
Is it really? Let me see it. Let me see.
I put all the seasonings. I just didn't put the cornmeal. And I cooked it in the air fryer right now while we're doing it. And it's delicious.
And it's cooked. I see it. It's cooked. I hear a lot about that air fryer.
They're pretty fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
God, thank you guys so much. Betty, thank you for having me. This was amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sharon.
Thank you.
Sharon. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Sharon.
Love you, Sharon.
Welcome. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you so much, Sharon.
You're welcome.
And thank you for the service you do for the city.